Well, good evening, Speed Gaming 3, and welcome to more Link to the Past Randomizer Open League playoffs. Tonight, we are going to feature Game 2 between Farm Friends and Crystal Roller Crew. This is going to be the Wisdom Pendant matchup. We've got Wind Fox for Farm Friends and Zaphakil for the Crystal Roller Crew. I'm Radical Sniper 99, joined by Danny Music with Tofile on the tracking. Hello.
Hello! I'm excited for this race in particular. Pseudoboots Cross Keys is one of my favorite modes. If you're not familiar with Pseudoboots Cross Keys, all of the entrance locations are shuffled and random, and we will also have all of the small keys, big keys, maps, and compasses scattered somewhere throughout the world, as opposed to guaranteed being in their vanilla dungeons. The goal is to get 7 crystals and defeat Ganondorf, and we will also have the ability to go relatively fast with those boots to start with.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're these pseudo variety, and I don't know. You can like them, you can hate them. They have some different effects. And it looks like both runners are going with the very traditional pseudo boot start, going for the, or not the pseudo boot start, the cross key start of hula hanning.
Yeah, this is a lot easier to set up with the pseudo boots because even though the pseudo boots don't have the unlock bonk properties that will let you get into entrances or get keys off of torches, they do still let you set up for this hula hand very nice and easy.
Yeah, it does give just enough range, or like the bonk distance does work for that. It's not true of all bonks that we're used to, as we do find a Hyrule Castle entrance there at the Witch's Hut.
Yeah, both runners turning that down. They want to check the first drop down initially. So Zaphakil going to use the bonk setup to get into the water, whereas Wind Fox is crossing the bridge. That box setup is another thing that works with pseudo boots, even though they aren't, in fact, the real boots.
Yeah, the one thing you have to do with that, even if you have real boots there, and I wonder if this is why Wind Fox isn't going for that bonk setup, is you have to hold not just left, you have to hold like up left on that screen transition to actually get it.
Yeah, it might be possible Wind Fox just doesn't know that. So both
Yeah, that's one
now...
that really... sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
that's
just one of those now just doing the hula hand to get money.
Yeah. That's one of those transitions that confuses a lot of people as to why it doesn't work, because like every other fake flipper is just like hold left, hold right. That's one of the few that's like hold left and up.
All right, both runners continuing along the same path, going to Hyrule Castle, gonna even grab the sign for a tree pull in Wind Fox's case.
Well, I think Wind Fox is trying to set up for a tier 2, but I think he's still a kill short right now. No, he actually did get the 2 or 3. Okay, so he did get 4 kills. I guess that would have been a tier 3.
Yeah, he must have killed the Buzz Blob twice.
Yeah. But yeah, you were talking about, how much you enjoy this mode. I mean, the two of us both were Wisdom Pendant players for our teams this season, so no secret that we enjoy the cross keys.
Absolutely. We'll see how wise I end up getting. I have my first match on Friday.
Nice early Thieves Town small key there.
Sanctuary is at the Lost Woods.
And immediately, Zaph going for the drop down there. And Wind Fox doing the same. I mean, you got that one bomb. Why not? Ooh, a full magic. And yep, Zaph's going back for it.
Wait a minute, I like that.
I like that. I mean, I'll take a sword any day.
So the only disadvantage is now both runners are out of bombs, so if somehow Kakariko doesn't have a bomb shop, then there will be one entrance in the lower left part of Kakariko that the runners won't be able to get. But both runners are going to opt to head north first, check out the entrance in the Lost Woods, and then likely see what lies at the Aga and Lumberjack entrances.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go about doing this for right now. Now, in terms of our two teams tonight, Farm Friends was the winner of the Eastern Palace Division, finishing the regular season at 10-4 for 30 points. Meanwhile, Crystal Roller Crew was actually also a 30-point scoring team in a three-way tie for first in the Desert Palace Division, unfortunately losing out on some tiebreakers that allowed the Kabuki Hondo team to take the first place spot in that division. Crystal Roller Crew already has played a playoff series at this point. They took down the Long Shots in 4 games. Unfortunately, Zaf being the did not win his Sudaboots match in that round, so definitely looking for a bit better of a result here tonight. And of course, this is Farm Friends' first series of playoff races after having a round 1 bye.
And in that previous encounter, that was Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna getting a win off of IB Karma in Hard Randomizer.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun race. I watched some of that one last night, so.
So Zafakale looking to even the score, whereas Windfox hoping to pull his team farther ahead.
Yeah, and definitely knowing, I've definitely raced with these, both of these teams quite frequently. So a lot of experience with both of them, and, knowing more Farm Friends for sure, they're another more veteran team of the Open League, and clearly has that kind of goal of saying, we want to get out of Open League now. Their goal is not just, having made playoffs. It's, we're looking to get out of this. We're looking to make Invitational next season. Unfortunately, I can look at this conference and go, any of 5 or 6 teams here, I could see making a claim to that spot.
Yeah. The Link to the Past randomizer community has been very competitive lately. Both open and invitational leagues have a lot of super threatening teams that could easily do some work here.
Exactly. I mean, even your team, Danny, like, you guys are in this same conference with them, so possible scouting for future matchups.
Hey, we'll see what ends up happening.
Right.
So both runners are in Kakariko without bombs. The well is here. Windfox opted to do the well without the bomb for this cracked wall. We'll see if Zafakale ends up doing the same thing.
I gotta feel like I would check at least like Bottle Vendor and some of the other entrances before dropping in. Like, that's 2 straight that Wind hasn't had a bomb for.
Yeah.
Like, I think I like Zaf's idea here first. Like, see if you can get bombs. There's got to be a shop at Kakariko, right?
Yep. If you can't get bombs, then you can always do it later, and it's not that much of a time loss.
No, it's just the fact that, like, that's the second one Wind has left behind. And I just, who wants to go back down into the well? Who wants to go back into Blind Slut, especially? Like, I can get the Blind Slut play, at least. Like, it's not terrible. But also doing it for the well when you have all these other entrances is not a feels-good moment.
And of note, Zafakale was able to check the cracked wall of Blind's house because he had grinded another bomb off of the Buzz Blob in the woods.
And there's our free bombs.
Yep, so this is exactly what Zafakale was hoping for. Free bombs, don't even have to find a shop to pay for them. And now he can probably go back inside, get some more bombs before jumping down the well.
Agreed. I'm going in again at this point. Like, at least get myself to 7. Might consider going in for a few more.
Mm-hmm.
But with that early sword, I might say I'm fine.
Yeah, early Sword and Cane means that they do definitely have some weapons other than bombs to beat the enemies.
We'll say interesting to see the spin speed and the dash out of the Smith screen. Not too much of a difference in timing. Makes me reassured in not doing spin speed there. Another 300 rupee already. Geez, we are rich.
Yeah, money not much of an objective this time around. Could be handy to incentivize an early Zora play if the runners are inclined to do that. Oftentimes in cross keys, Zora is one of those checks that you can technically get early on, but runners tend not to do it until somewhere around the hour 30 mark.
Yeah. Definitely one I'm not rushing. And I see Tofile saying that was the old man rescue. I didn't see the drop down or the jump, so I'll believe it.
Oh, interesting. So if so, that's a way to Death Mountain, which is one of the more valuable locations to find early on.
Yeah, especially with the rescue.
Yeah, since Death Mountain is a source of a lot of entrances that are in the light world, there's a decent chance that something useful, potentially including a moon pearl, can be found there. Of course, going through the Old Man Rescue Cave without lamp isn't in logic, but if the runners want to go there, then not having a lamp won't stop them.
Yeah, and it's roughly an easy screen to do in the dark. Garrison asking, is there a hole in that screen? Yes, there is. It's the bottom right corner. So if you go down and right a little too much, you can go in that hole. It's hard to do it in the dark, really. It's generally pretty free of a dark room. But yeah, that hole does exist. There's a few holes in the room. And Zaf just getting bullied. Oof.
Yeah, Zaf's gonna go back into the back for that last item. A bit unfortunate, possibly nerves settling in, so hopefully it doesn't deter Zaf from making good decisions throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, I did read the race time room a little bit beforehand. Both runners definitely talking a little bit about nerves. So
okay, so Windfox is going to head back for those cracked wall entrances that he had to skip earlier. We'll see what Zaf decides to do after scouting the area south of Kakariko.
yeah, I think there's a good chance after Zaf does these 3 checks, he heads back for the old man rescue.
Yeah, I think that was the only connector other than Bumper Cave that we found in Kakariko. So
yeah, we saw a dungeon, we saw Ice Palace. We also did technically find a Hyrule Castle entrance. But yeah, I think out of the was that CAC or was that no, that was Witch's Hut, sorry. You're right.
Yeah, I would say if you're at the natural conclusion to your route, I would just go through Old Man Rescue Cave. Maybe the old man will have something nice, and if not, then you're on Death Mountain, which could also possibly have something nice.
Yeah, and it looks like that's Zaf's plan here.
Yep. So Windfox, in the meantime, going to head to the Eastern Palace area. I tend to like doing this early on. The entrances here don't have any cracked walls, so oftentimes you can do everything you want to, even before you have bombs. We see the other side of Bumper Cave. And that is a big key on Lake Hylia Island. Yeah,
that's always fun. You know, everybody loves big keys that require extra items to find.
Alright, so the old man has the map to Misery Mire. Zaphicale has to be a bit careful here.
And good little game knowledge there from Zaf. You don't see that done too often, but the fortune tellers do restore your health if you pay.
That is the first time that I learned of that. That is very nice.
I had heard that recently, and I was like, I've never done that before. And then, to see it actually put into practice.
Yeah, it comes into handy with moments like this, too, where you're in Death Mountain with only 3 hearts. Windfox, in the meantime, finds Hype Cave. We see the small key to Desert Palace, as well as a small key to Turtle Rock. That's a decent amount of hype, I would say. Maybe like a 3 or 4 out of 10. Not the super hype items, but definitely things that you would want.
Exactly.
So interestingly, Zaphicale finds the lamp atop of Spectacle Rock. That would be an interesting find in a non-entrance seed.
We should have a different path up to the mountain, and we just haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm. And there's the fire rod. So Mountain has all the fire, it seems, in this seed. And Tofile confirming we saw a paradox connector. I think that was the block exit to Paradox Cave. So presumably you would have to find one of the other 2 somewhere throughout the world of Carmen Sandiego in order to get to Death Mountain.
And we've got an Eastern Big Key now, too.
And Windfox takes a save quit there. Not sure what dark room that was. Oh, that was Aga Tower.
Yeah. We did find a really early Aga Tower, so.
Okay, so Windfox just got the first chest from Aga Tower. But it is going to put that Desert Palace small key to use right away.
I like it. The one thing I will say is I don't know if I love this play from Zaf right now. I'm a big proponent of bunny walking, but I feel like we're going a little extra out of our way to do more on this right now. Like, you got through you did the mountain, you got a connector to Dark World, but I don't know. I'd be a little more tempted to. I'll see how far he goes with this, but I'm hoping this is a save and quit from Dark Lumberjack and not a full explorer.
Yeah, the other problem with bunny walking in pseudo boots specifically is that the opportunity cost of bunny walking is running, not just walking. So if you do spend the time that it takes to bunny walk, then that's time that your opponent could potentially be running all over Hyrule at the speed of sound in order to try find a location that more likely than the stuff that you're doing has the Moon Pearl.
Exactly.
Windfox, in the meantime, finds the other side of Death Mountain.
Well, this could be our logic for it eventually.
True. Spiral Cave is a nice hold that thought game. Gonna check out the rest of it first. And Palace of Darkness is here.
If anybody tells me they enjoy Spiral Cave in this mode, I will probably say you're lying. Danny, you're being very quiet to that statement. Do you like Spiral Cave?
Oh, no, not at all.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Even though it has an item, like, I tend to neglect it if I already think that I am on a natural route to go through a light world loop or a dark world loop. Alright, so Palace of Darkness just with the boomerang, and Zaf finds his way to the Eastern Palace area as well. Going to get Hype Cave for the keys that Windfox picked up earlier. And Windfox committing to the Mimic clip.
Not getting those good. You could see the Mimic moving in and out a little bit right now, so just holding direct or left to right too much, just by a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So for those unfamiliar with this clip, the idea is to alternate moving one frame down and one frame to the right, which will force the Mimic into the wall, and ultimately outside of the room, which will trick the game into thinking that you beat all the enemies in that room and causing the door to open. It's a pretty difficult trick because it requires a lot of precise one-frame movements, and unfortunately it is something that you can spend a lot of time on, as Windfox is doing now. But if you think that your opponent doesn't or can't mimic clip, then you could potentially get some nice items out of sequence before your opponent is likely to find them. We'll see what the reward for Windfox is. How about the flippers?
I was gonna say, we also got the cape over on Zaf's side. That was in that dark room.
So we know that that cape isn't needed for Bumper Cave, because we've seen both the light and the dark. Well, we've seen both halves of Bumper Cave already. But the cape could still be useful for Spike Cave, and it's just a handy item to have in general.
Agreed. Question in chat about the potion mimic clip. What you do is in the hallway right before that mimic room, you are in the hallway portion connecting the two doors, and you drink the potion as you move to the left. And then as long as you don't like hit the left side of the door, that pushes you back over to the right. When you enter the room and grab the wall, or move towards the wall, the camera goes with you, roughly speaking.
Yeah, that potion glitch is a lot easier to pull off than the mimic clip that Windfox did, but sometimes you don't have a bottle.
Yeah, having learned to do both camera unlock and both versions of the clip itself, I am very appreciative of the potion version, but done effectively, the bufferless strat is pretty good.
And in the meantime, I think we see a mushroom on Windfox's side from Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, I think, did we get an extra pod small key in pod?
I guess we must have. I think that
Yeah,
Windfox came in with one.
That's what I thought as well, so definitely a nice find.
Yeah. And that was a medallion in the dark room there. Mistwish medallion that was. And the book also in the dark room.
Interesting 6 key locked items here.
Bombos medallion. Okay. So Bombos medallion, book, and flippers, all in Palace of Darkness. It's a interesting set.
And Wind knowing exactly how dangerous of a position he's in right now.
So Zaf finds Pod right as Windfox exits it, and that is the Paradox Cave connector on Windfox's side.
Great time to find it.
So we know where the bottom exit goes, and that is left side Death Mountain. We don't know yet where the middle exit goes, and Windfox finds the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, great time for that find. Didn't do any of the bunny walking, so no real loss there, and gonna be able to, for all we know, we're gonna find our way over to Dark World through this connector.
Interesting, Windfox finds 2 Palace of Darkness small keys from Paradox Cave right after having done pretty much as he wants to do in Palace of Darkness. But Windfox is going to come back and go right back into Pod.
Very interesting play, I must say. I don't know if I love it or hate it. It's a choice.
Oh, I didn't realize Windfox hasn't checked that entrance yet.
Okay.
So that is the 4th Palace of Darkness small keys, which does put the back of Pod in logic. It does not, however, put the dark basement in logic, because even though the fire rod has been found already, that does require the lamp, which we know to be on top of Spectacle Rock.
Staff giving us the other version of the Mimic clip with the pause buffers. Nicely done.
Yeah, both runners going to have those flippers nice and early out of sequence.
Imagine our runners doing anything in logic in this seed so far.
Also of note, the one chest in Spiral Cave was a big key to Skull Woods. And conveniently, since the back of Spiral Cave let out at the top of Bumper Cave entrance, Windfox is right in the area of Skull Woods to be able to check if it in fact has the goods.
Yeah, a lot of checks coming up for Wind with this. Just gonna have to be a little careful. Down to 1 heart here in Dark World. And the game is really telling us a lot about Pod today. Here's the keys, here's the compass. Could we have just gotten the map? That would have been nice.
And then sure enough, we'll see if those 6 key items end up unlocking different things, or if they're just junk in this case.
I mean, I'll take an early book. That's not too bad.
Alright, Alright, so one extra advantage that Zaf does have over Windfox right now is that Fire Rod from left side Death Mountain. Windfox didn't go through the block exit of Paradox Cave, so hasn't found left side Death Mountain yet. But if Zaf does find the Skull Woods area, then Zaf will be able to check the back entrance, which Windfox could not do, and might not do for some time.
Yeah, that fire rod's gonna be really nice, especially with this Skull Woods area check. Just being able to say, hey, I can check the back of Skull Woods as an entrance. Nice little time save overall.
Mm-hmm. So if a dungeon or an important 5-item cave or something is there, then that could be an advantage.
Everybody's favorite vanilla small key.
Yep, that small key is guaranteed vanilla in an entrance randomizer mode. And there Zaphicale finds that Moon Pearl.
Zaf getting a little bit bullied here.
Yeah, you really don't want to let yourself get too low on hearts in this mode. Windfox finds Mini Moldorm Cave, which I believe Zaf had scouted when bunny walking earlier.
Yes, he did. He did scout this one out, so he'll know to return to it for sure, as we do get the Swamp Palace big key, not a big find.
How about the small key? Is that a bigger find?
That is definitely a bigger find. Having them in conjunction with the fact that we've got flippers, I like it.
For those who don't know, in Key Sanity Randomizer, the Swamp Palace small key locks everything but the first chest in the dungeon, whereas the Swamp Palace big key locks only the big chest. So for that reason, we like to say that the big key and the small key have switched roles for the purposes of completing Swamp Palace.
It's funny because back in the day, at least before I was playing Rando, I remember the old logic that it seems like the rate of picking up Swamp Small in Swamp was actually pretty high. Nowadays, it's pretty much in line, that it's not great, but not always a check you want to make.
Ooh, I was wondering about that. The Murderdactyl got Zaf before Zaf was able to make it to the Skullwoods area, so bit of an unfortunate death there, but we will get to see where the old man spawn is.
The front, not great. Will be nice if we have to do desert area checks at least, but yeah, no rush to go there.
Yeah, if I was Zaf, I would have probably jumped down, checked at least Agina's cave as well as the main entrance to Desert Palace. But you can just spawn there anytime to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know if I love it, just like I'd be worried about that liftable desert rock, but not a bad idea. And was that our dark entrance leading into VOO anyway?
Yep, that was a that's a pretty convenient one on the other hand.
Right? Like, we were worried about Zaf getting punished by the Murderdactyl. Instead, the game's like, no, it's okay. Here's your connector.
The game is gently giving a finger wag. It's like, I told you once, I gave you a warning, now you eat your vegetables.
Okay, so Wynn did pick up that map. He did skip one of the earlier ones. That thief drop down that we saw earlier, he had skipped, but does go for that one at least. A little freer at this point.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, hook shot from Stump Kid. The things are falling more and more into place for early Swamp Palace. We're still gonna need the dam and the hammer to complete that, though.
Yeah, really curious how quick that happened.
Oh, there's the hammer, right on cue.
Seek and you shall receive, I guess.
All right, so all we have to do is find the dam, and I guess also find the dungeon for Swamp Palace, and we can clear it.
I did see some mention in chat of the possibility of, the second bow being in Swamp. Logical Silvers in Swamp Palace at this rate. Would be pretty funny.
Yeah, and it could wind up being the runner's first bow. All right. Yeah, Windfox is going to go back into Turtle Rock. I was curious about that. With the Cane of Samaria, you can do a bunch of interesting things in here. I think that if I was Windfox, I would at least go through this and get the middle chests. Probably also go all the way to the front 3 chests of Turtle Rock. The thing is, Windfox doesn't have the fire rod, so he can only get 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far I'd push it. But like the hard part is that hammer is in logic. So like part of me would be really more interested in continuing on to East Dark World instead of worrying about possibly ending up at one of the other Turtle Rock exits.
Yeah, I would at least do this much, as Windfox is doing here, going to Chain Chomp Chest.
And Hera is our back of skull.
That's a very good find for Zaphikil. It might be a while before Windfox finds that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wind getting to full clear the front of all the front stuff with Skull, like, I don't know what sends you back there, because that's a bad entrance to get to.
Mm. That being said, Zaphikil, if Hera is a crystal, is going to have to come back here anyway, because we don't have... Zaph doesn't have the hookshot yet, nor have either runner found the Tower of Hera big key.
And Wind knows he's got to be a little careful here. These bomber birds are not your friends. They will do 2 hearts of damage. So gonna try to get around as much as possible. Especially it looks like he is going for the Dark Shopping Mall. And there's the pod big key. Okay.
Yeah, pod big key in Hera basement. I don't know what to think of pod this seed. some weird items in illogical places, but the small keys are falling into place. We just need a bow now to be able to complete the dungeon, albeit 2 more small keys have to be found to complete it in logic, plus getting that lamp.
Yeah, and we're still short. Well, we have logical access now to to West Death Mountain.
That is true.
So we are just short a mirror from fully understanding the logic of these of that location now.
And Flipheel makes a good point. There is no situation in which Windfox will not have the ability to do Hera basement.
I just say that your choice of wording there was just perfect.
You might skip it anyway, but
might skip it, but does not have it forced upon him to skip it.
Right.
And Wind is gonna check out Pod before the Pod Cave. Or the Pod Peg Cave.
Yeah, that's a little curious to me as well.
Yeah, I'm usually a fan of Pod Pegs first, just because I hate running out of this spot. Like, running out of Pod it's ugly.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to come back to if you have the flute, but at this point the runners don't have the flute. Or a glove. And
Well,
it's Hyrule Castle at the pod entrance.
You know, after having found that Hyrule Castle so long ago, for us to find another way to it at this point, not a bad thing.
Yep. There is still one more Hyrule Castle connector that we can check out. But both runners are going to be in Hyrule Castle, in fact. Zaphicale also doing the front. And it's possible that both runners are going to go out the middle entrance, which is our remaining Hyrule Castle connector, after clearing this much.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Zaph checking the other side, but front door will probably be the first check. But I think they'll both also go for Dark Cross.
Mm-hmm. Definitely Zaph should, having that fire rod. Windfox at this point did enter Hyrule Castle from the Dark World, which means that the snakes and bats that are in Hyrule Castle will do crickets damage, which is 2 hearts.
Which is totally terrifying.
Yep, and Windfox also doesn't have the fire rod.
I mean, he does know at least that one of the other entrances is a Light World entrance. Mm-hmm. So could say, I'm gonna go after, go out and go back in. To make his life a little bit less terrifying. But I'm not sure.
Alright, so we'll see what they decide to do. Windfox is not... Okay, he's going to the left side first. Probably going to get that Light World exit so that the dark is less scary. Zaph, in the meantime, not going to go to Dark Cross Room, going to head out the middle entrance instead. We see that is Turtle Rock Laser Bridge. Well, not Laser Bridge. Turtle Rock, the bridge between the left and right entrances.
Yeah, good old DDM bridge there.
But now Zaph is doing this with the rats and snakes taking on the properties of crickets, whereas Windfox is not. Zaph, however, does have the fire rod to make this journey a bit safer.
Yeah, and he's going to go and use that fire rod, so he's looking at this as I can use this to my advantage with the extra damage and then still be able to see what I'm doing so I'm not completely, going to get wrecked.
Yep. And simultaneous heart pickups from the runners.
Yeah, the only difference is Zaph able to use that extra damage to get out quicker.
Yeah. Windfox taking all these hits from the bombs. I don't know, unless you really want to keep exploring Hyrule Castle, maybe a save and quit would be faster, just so you don't have to do that.
I think Wind hasn't discovered the middle entrance. So for him, this is, I need to check this middle door and find that DDM bridge.
That is true.
For Zaph, it's the opposite of, there's the one exit of Hyrule Castle I haven't checked yet, so...
Zaph not a fan of the Kiki tax this time around.
Yep, definitely had to get rid of Kiki there. I think if you do a screen transition, it would have done the same without having to damage yourself, so...
Yeah, I think Kiki does say something about that. Oh, it is wordless, okay. So this might have been the other reason why Windfox opted for the Death Warp in Hyrule Castle, because Windfox also hasn't checked this entrance.
Right. Zaf remembering, hey, I didn't check this entrance. Unfortunately for Zaf, has not done the South Dark World, where both our Hookshot and Hammer are. You know, I just realized, man, GT would be nice right about now.
Sure would. We're starting to run pretty shy on entrances to check at this point, so chances are we're gonna need to find a item-dense cave or dungeon soon. We already know of the existence of one item-dense cave or dungeon in Ice Palace, but we can't full clear that quite yet without a glove. Also don't have the big key for Ice Palace. And here is Pendant Eastern Palace. This is an interesting find. Windfox doesn't have the big key to Eastern Palace, which was from the left side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, so unfortunately, you know, if the first bow is here in Eastern, a little bit of a problem. Not massive, but not preferable. You know, we talk about the possibility of the fabled triple dip Eastern. You really don't want that to happen here.
Yeah, for sure. Bow in this vanilla location would be absolutely atrocious for Windfox right now. Flute, however, pretty nice find.
Yeah, that's a great one, and that will send him probably for the left side Death Mountain.
Now, Zaphicale also taking on Turtle Rock, which was found in the Dark World shopping mall area. I'll be interested to see if Zaf decides to go past the Chain Chomps and check out the 3 chests that are in the front of the dungeon.
Yeah, that, or do you just bonk over and go for shooting gallery? Or firing squad, as it were.
Ooh.
Tough decision.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought the runners had found shooting gallery already. I have to be a little careful of these chain chomps, though. That was a pretty close shave right there. Alright, so just a flute and a Mire Small from Eastern Palace for Windfox. Mire Small doesn't really mean much. Having one is helpful to speed up going through the dungeon, but for the most part the Mire Smalls basically are indicators if important items could be on the left side of Misery Mire. In the meantime, Zaf going through Turtle Rock does remember the hardest trick in the game, which is remembering that you don't have the hookshot, when in fact you do not have the hookshot. We already saw bombs from the first of the 3 checks that are in the front. We are going to see the next 2 as Windfox activates the flute, and I imagine this would be left side Death Mountain for Windfox.
We did get a quick map check. We did see desert is a crystal. And right side has the TR big key and the mirror. Oh, wow.
Interestingly, Zaf decided not to go through the connector and wanted to mirror instead, going to check the Crystal Roller Room chest immediately.
Yeah, this could be a play onto Laser Bridge.
Yeah, so this would be interesting if it's Laser Bridge. If Zaf does commit to Laser Bridge, then Zaf would spend his last Turtle Rock small key, which means that Zaf would have to go to Eastern Palace, where Windfox found another Turtle Rock small key, in order to beat the dungeon. And he is going to go through and commit to it, which I would probably do in Zaf's situation.
Yeah, usually you're going to find another couple. They're like a third key pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. We have also seen a bunch of Turtle Rock small keys early. We've seen a bit of a payoff from having the Turtle Rock small keys already with the mirror. And
although I'm going to be very
that's our next important progression item. What were you going to say?
I got to be curious if we've actually got access to that front door anyway.
Oh.
And I was really worried with Zaf going right out that TR door. I was like, please don't be a one-way for you, because you're going to really kick yourself if you skipped all these items on Laser Bridge.
Yeah. It's a dangerous one.
But yeah, given how many keys it actually takes to get to the front, logically, like the front of TR logically without the front door does require, I think, all the small keys.
That's right.
So I gotta wonder, like, do we have access to that front door, or are the other keys free at this point?
Yeah, there was one Turtle Rock small in Eastern, I believe. So I think that is 3 that we know about, and Zaf must have one that Windfox doesn't. Alright, so Windfox on left side Death Mountain is going to grab that Fire Rod, got that Eastern big key perhaps a bit later than he would have liked. We're taking the hookshot over to right side Death Mountain now. This might be for a return to Palace of Darkness?
Oh, Mimic
nope.
Cave.
Mimic Cave,
Nice.
alright.
Zaf is going to make the return play on Pod, though, here. Given that Pod big key, I'm not totally surprised. We'll see how much he wants to play with this, though. Looks like we're getting at least the big chest and probably Harmless Hellway here.
Mm-hmm. So also of note, with Zaf finding the mirror, that means the runners can get the lamp, which is atop Spectacle Rock. So the basement items, which I think included the book, become in logic.
Now, here's a question I pose to you, Danny, on this one is: are you save scumming vanilla big key chest here? As when Fox finds a glove.
Ooh, that's a spicy find. Pod is in such an inconvenient area that it is very tempting, honestly, to save scum that big key chest. If I was Windfox and doing this, I absolutely would, because Windfox has the flute already to be able to make it back to Pod super quick. Zaf is just saving that last small key. It's a bit dangerous because we don't know if Pod is a pendant or a crystal, and with only 2 small keys remaining to find in the pool, it's an interesting decision for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, as when I say save scum, I do mean a death warp save and continue kind of
right.
Save scum there, not a, you know, just randomly like save scum without having to set it up. Because yeah, we've done a lot. Since our last official like save and quit. Well, I guess Zaf hasn't. He did take a couple of laser bridge deaths that would give him some nice checks.
Yeah. Be pretty easy to save scum with a laser bridge.
Zaf did not get that glove on the first trip. Could have, just didn't go into DDM from that side, unfortunately. We've known about that pig key pretty much since the word go. Both runners got that one pretty early on the info side.
Also of note, the flippers were from bow-locked side of Pod, so they're not in logic because we haven't found a bow yet.
And the dam is our spike cave today, so when Zaf gets that hammer and glove, we'll be able to do it with a cape.
Alright, Diagonal Cave is in Waterfall Ferry entrance. And we'll see what Zora has this time around. Unfortunately, despite having the mirror, Zaf can't combo it with Catfish, because Zaf hasn't picked up the glove from left side Death Mountain that Windfox has already. Windfox immediately going to put that glove to use, checking out the 3 entrances in the Ice Rod Cave area. Though, speaking of Ice Palace, we can clear Ice Palace right now if we commit to skipping the big chest.
That's quite the commitment, but, I mean, you got your Kana Samari at least.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and yeah, with the fact that Zaf has mirror and flippers, I'm surprised we didn't get the start back at Old Man into VOO to do the south route here. Like, I am shocked he is not about to get his hookshot and hammer more than anything else.
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty natural path. You can check pretty much everything along that south path going from Village of Outcasts to the Lake Hylia area, pick up that big key, whatever it is, and then do the flippers related checks that Zaf is doing now. Zaf, however, does find Thieves Town, which is on right side Death Mountain, the safety ferry ascension entrance, which you would get to from mirroring where Laser Bridge is.
Hopefully the Thieves Town big key is not in these first 4 checks, because like we've got the small key, and if he gets that big key, might find himself missing the big chest.
Yeah, that And like the fact that Zaf found this dungeon too makes that missing that big key a bit more of a potential issue, because what if that big key was the one to Thieves Town? Zaf, however, is rewarded with an ice rod, so Trinex is technically beatable. Would be a hard fight, and Zaf would also have to find another Turtle Rock small key.
And Wind is really kind of picking up steam here with that flute. Unfortunately, he does not have the mirror yet, but he's going to be able to check a lot really quickly with this current loadout.
Alright, so we saw Zaf go backwards through Spiral Cave again to check the entrance atop of Light World Bumper Cave. Unfortunately, it wasn't anything, but that's a good one to get out of the way, and could have been a nice advantage with Mirror.
Yeah, definitely don't reject on the, hey, I got good info there, but unfortunately nothing too important.
Mm-hmm.
Besides peace of mind, I guess. And that's really the issue, I feel like, for Wind, is just going to be the lack of that feeling, because look how many things he's able to check, but having to leave one or two every time. You know, finds Eastern, no big key. Has found, you know, has done his Skull Woods checks without the fire rod, so now Hera's kind of on the outs. Like, there's just there's a growing set of these, and it's a little worrisome.
Yep, and we can't forget that that Palace of Darkness big key was found in Hera basement.
Exactly.
Alright, Windfox has to be a bit careful here. 3-Heart Moth does have the hammer. Nicely done.
And there's our first bottle off the Moth, as well as our first crystal at just over an hour.
So Zaphical in the meantime on the path to get the hook shot as well as the hammer.
And probably ending at that big key.
Alright, Jesse, what big key do you think that is?
I kind of want it to be Skull just for fun, but although the idea of it being ice is now also kind of appealing to me. Like, I want it to be one of the dungeons we can actually do something with.
Hmm.
How about you?
I would say I'd like it to be the Thieves Town big key. Give us those other 4 checks in Thieves Town right away.
The reason why we don't want GT is whoever wants to see GT big key. Although, I just thought about it. Have we seen Ganon?
We haven't seen Ganon's Tower at all, and...
No, not Ganon's Tower. I mean actual Ganon.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't keeping track of the drop-downs. That might be in the pyramid.
It might be. I just realized we hadn't seen it.
Alright, so maybe we do want to see the GT big key. Alright, so Windfox is committing to Ice Palace now. We'll be able to get 7 of the 8 items in here, unless there happens to be an Ice Palace big key that is French vanilla. I think Zeph remembered that he doesn't have the glove for Spike Cave, but is going to check Mini Moldorm Cave entrance while in this area.
Hopefully he does remember also go back to his portal here.
Yeah, I'd be curious if Zeph also checks the Bombos tablet. Can't get the item yet without Master Sword, but you can at least read what the hint tile says.
I mean, I was thinking more about the big key.
Right, I want to see that big key too.
Yeah.
I'm sure that that's already on Zeph's mind, though. But Bombo's tablet is not. To answer the question in chat, the hint tiles don't have information. What I actually meant was the reading the tablets. You can find out the information about what item is located at the tablet, even if you don't have the Master Sword to be able to get that item. And I think Zeph skipped that big key.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, Zaf, please, buddy. He said we were supposed to be like, don't be too mean or don't be too nice to him. Zaf, if you watch it back, this is one of those moments where kind of like, buddy. I mean, it still can route in nicely, so not terrible. I actually would have bought an upgrade there, probably.
You have all the money in the world.
Right?
Misery Meyer. What if that big key was the Meyer big key? You never know.
Right? This is the third dungeon that we found that the big key could have been nice. It is Pendant Meyer, though, so...
Yep.
I feel like Zaf's in better position, just like some of the routing choices I'm disagreeing with right now.
Both runners have some interesting advantages. I think Windfox definitely has a mobility advantage with the flute and the glove, which he's already put into pretty good use. Windfox also already has the crystal from Skull Woods, about to get the second one from Ice Palace. Hasn't really found anything good in Ice Palace, but those are things that Zaf will definitely have to do that Windfox has already done. However, Zaf's big advantage right now is that Zaf has found the mirror and checked most of the things that are locked by the mirror. As we see, oh my gosh, 2 big items. So GT Big Key on Windfox's side on Cold Stare, and the real boots on Zaf's side from Misery Meyer. Yeah, now I'm not so sure if I'd give the mobility advantage to Windfox.
I think he's still more mobile, it's just, there's the efficiency that's continuing to build for Zaf. Like, Zaf can do checks consistently, like, one after another. I can full clear the bonk checks, I can hit these things first try with my mirror and my fire rod and my boots. Like, he doesn't have that glove, which is a huge problem, but he can do everything else.
Yep, and the big difference between pseudo boots and the real boots is that you can only go fast with pseudo boots. You can't use them for bonkable items or entrances. We actually already know about a bonkable item, which is the Ether Medallion from the Desert Palace Torch.
Yeah, there's some other tricks we can't do. Surprisingly, you can actually still do a spin speed. But yeah, there's a bunch of other tricks we can't. And it looks like Wind might actually find Hera.
Well, this will be good for Windfox. I can't imagine that Windfox would skip Hera Basement and miss out on that Palace of Darkness big key. And Winfox will also be able to beat the dungeon since he's found the hookshot already. Which is another crystal dungeon that he would have done that Zaf would still need to do.
Yeah, I mean, Wind is starting to build up a nice crystal advantage here. So even though he's missing some key items, he's getting stuff done quicker than Zaf, really. Or at least on the clear side of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting race. Both runners have some big advantages and a lot of route divergence despite taking very similar paths super early on. So it'll be exciting to see who's able to build up enough of a lead and who's able to come out on top in this.
And Zaf does remember to go south, so hopefully is this gonna be the Hylia Island big key?
I really hope so. No! Oh, no, he's not. He's skipping it.
Zaf!
Oh, he's checking.
I mean, at this point, what I'll say is
entrances.
getting back up on the shore from Lake Hylia Island is not fun.
Oh, and it's Hookshot Cave.
Meanwhile, Wind taking on the worm, unfortunately getting bodied there and taking a fall. Still in great shape. He's got a hammer. He's fine.
Yeah, Windfox hasn't done Hera Basement yet.
And that's the big question. Does he do this?
I feel with it being this early on and there being a lot of important keys and progression items that Windfox doesn't have yet, I feel that you should absolutely commit to Hera Basement, even though it's annoying. And Hera Basement has the Palace of Darkness big key. We don't know if Palace of Darkness is a pendant or crystal, but we have already seen 2 pendants.
Hey, and there's our other glove. So Zaf finds his own way to get Dark World access in this seed.
Okay, Windfox is going in, and that's actually a very nice connector for Zaf to find. Getting to the top of Death Mountain.
And there's the dam. So that boots potentially required for this seed?
Yeah, we haven't seen the floating island connecting cave yet. That would be our other way of getting to the dam. And getting to the other side of Hookshot Cave. But there's a good chance that those boots are hard acquired.
And that pendant Eastern is our green pendant, so... There's our Myra Bake. As well as our Hera Bake.
Alright, so we can narrow that big key down a lot now. Thieves Town, Ice, or Desert? I think those are our 3 options. And we also see that there is a big key on top of Floating Island, so we're going to want to find that connector, actually.
Okay, so Zaf is heading back over to Dark Death Mountain on this side, so having not gotten that glove earlier... Oh, no, Zaf, you do want this. This is going to be your mitts. Oh, is this just the Hera check? And it's a map. Okay, so this is going to be mitts for Zaf.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. I mean, it has to be at this point, really. But he does want that lamp, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, there are those maps. There's our bow.
There's that first
house.
bow.
And C-shaped house has moved one house below its vanilla location this time around. So with the bow fine, that means that the flippers are in logic, and with the flippers being in logic, that means that that big key that Zaf has abandoned for such a long time, maybe is going back to get that now, is also in logic.
No, Zaf has just completely rejected this big key. As he finds the Master Sword.
It's possible that he forgot about it.
Right. Although he's going back to Dark World, maybe he remembered. And Wynn's going back for Pod. And yay, Zaf is getting the big key.
Alright, here we go. Let's see if it is the one to Thieves Town. Ice Palace. So we already saw a clear of Ice Palace from Windfox's side. That led to the Ganon's Tower Big Key on Cold Stare. However, Windfox didn't have that big key at the time, which means that when Zaphical does Ice Palace, Zaf will be able to get one additional check.
And that's been the big note right now is the orphan checks on the Wind side. Like if you're hoping that none of these orphans are gonna burn him right now because they're stacking up, to be honest. And it's not a great feeling. You got Hera big chest, you've got Ice big chest. I will say that the trying to get into or going to the front of TR for that mirror is going to be a problem, I feel like.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zaf, for buying a heart.
At this point, Windfox does have 3 Turtle Rock small keys, so hopefully going through Turtle Rock is more on Windfox's radar than the first time that he had found that connector, which was in the Dark World shopping mall area.
The crazy thing here is Wind is opening up a 4-dungeon lead here. Like with this pod play, it's going to be his 4th dungeon, possibly even 4th crystal at that. And that's an imposing deficit right now.
So also, when Zaf went back into pod, Zaf didn't check the vanilla big key chests, either via save scumming or natural. Zaf opted to save the key in case the other pod key ended up being problematic. But we see the big key to Desert Palace was the one that was on the floating island, and that was accessed through a connector under the rock in the Dark World shopping mall. But to complete that thought, it could be a long time before either runner gets whatever item is in the big key chest of pod.
And that was a Master Sword on Helmasaur for Windfox.
Master Sword was a nice find. We know that an additional sword is from the sunken chest, and the dam to free the sunken chest is at the top of Dark Death Mountain.
And there's our 4th sword in the Desert Palace big chest. So Zaf already up to Tempered Sword now. And yes, as Zeruvian pointing out in chat, that is the 4th crystal now for Wind Fox.
Yes.
This crystal advantage is just massive at this point. Like, Zaf's got great options, at least, so, like, not a terrible situation to be in, but it's... You know, the crystals are piling up. He's got dungeons to clear that will take time.
Mm-hmm.
And here's his first is going to be Desert.
Interesting. This is one that Wind Fox currently can't do.
And we know this is our 5th crystal, at least. Our A crystal as well, so... what are we down to? Meyer, we know is a pendant. Eastern, we know is green pendant. We're unsure of TR and Thieves?
Yeah.
And Swamp, I think? Or do we know? No, we know Swamp is a crystal.
Swamp is a red crystal.
Yeah, so we're just down to between TR and Thieves for that last pendant. Or crystal. And to the discussion about, you know, how quickly you get dungeons cleared in this mode, realistically, it's not too surprising in some regards to take more than an hour to get a crystal or a dungeon clear in the mode. You'd like to be a little bit faster than that, but there's phases to cross keys. And this is definitely something that can happen is you start clearing stuff and... you know, really focus on overworld for a while until you finally get the opportunity to start hitting the dungeons. So Zaf should be transitioning into dungeon assault mode in a sense.
Mm-hmm. And also, this is a bit of a problem on Windfox's side. Windfox made it back to the Dark World shopping mall area, but opted to go for the rock and take this connector up to Dark Death Mountain. So, unfortunately, Windfox is going to miss that Desert Palace big key, and also going to miss the mirror, because in order to get to Turtle Rock to get the mirror, Windfox is going to have to do that entire sequence again.
The hard part is like, from Windfox's perspective right now, like, this is perfect. It's like, hey, I just got the dam. I've got all this stuff to check up here on Dark Death Mountain. Like, this is good for me, as Zaf is going to get a small key to Pod, another one. And yeah, we still haven't found GT. Danny, are you getting a little bit concerned? We could have a vanilla GT here.
Let's see. We haven't seen, I don't believe, any of the Misery Mire area yet.
True.
We also...
Unfortunately, the runner with the flute doesn't have the mitts, and the runner with the mitts doesn't have the flute.
Right. We also saw that it is Ether Medallion that opens up the Turtle Rock Vanilla entrance. And the Ether Medallion is obtainable right now. Zaf actually did not obtain it from the Torch of Desert Palace. I don't believe we saw Swamp Palace at all yet.
Yeah, we're missing 2 dungeons, really.
Hmm. All right,
and
so
Windfox is going to have a great laser bridge here with his mirror shield.
Yeah, I hope this transitions into Windfox just clearing Turtle Rock in reverse. That'll probably, at this point, be the fastest way to get Windfox that mirror.
He is going backwards at least somewhat right now.
Oh, we have seen Swamp Palace. Swamp Palace is near the desert. Thank you to our tracker Tofile for pointing that out and keeping us accountable. And Windfox saving and quitting there. That mirror is going to have to wait a bit longer.
I'll be honest, I have not been. I did not pull out an entrance tracker tonight, so.
I have one out, but I'm not as diligent about writing them down when I'm trying to also commentate the race. Okay, so this is a play into Swamp Palace for Windfox. Going to increase on that Crystal's lead, though Zaf will decrease that pretty shortly with this Ice Palace clear.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think Zaf would be well served to. I mean, what is Zaf really missing? The bow?
Yep, Zaf needs the bow for Palace of Darkness. The bow was found at the Hammerlocked House in Village of Outcasts, which is an extremely easy thing to get via the old man spot starting point, or via just fluting or getting to Kakariko and using the Titansmiths to get into Village of Outcasts.
I mean, depending the GT location, like Zaf could just be bow from Go mode.
Mm-hmm. If Thieves Town is the other crystal, then we will also need the Thieves Town Big Key, which I'm sure at this point is going to be the one that's on Floating Island that Zaf walked by several times. Lake Hylia Island, not Floating Island.
We did get the Lake Hylia one.
We got the Floating Island one. That was deserts.
I thought we got Lake Hylia as well.
Oh, did we now?
Lake Hylia was ice.
Oh, right. Okay, I forgot about that. Never mind. You're off the hook for this one, Zaf.
And Wind is going for the full clear here of Swamp Palace. No skips. I was going to say that Cold Stare fight a little dangerous, but honestly, Zaf up to 16 hearts. So, not too bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Windfox already has a bow. I was going to say, at this point we should know that if there is a bow in Swamp Palace, it is the logical silver arrows, given that the flippers were found in a bow-locked location.
And like I said, Zaf is just in that mindset now, like, okay, I've got the ability to just beat everything. Let me just continue to do that. So quickly finishing up Ice Palace, now finds himself in Skull Woods.
There's Windfox's fourth key to Turtle Rock, which officially puts going to the front in logic.
Yeah, that's gross.
Logically required left side swamp. Though, unlike with the phrase technically correct, logically required is not really the type of required that you want.
Nice kill there for Zaf on the Moth. That's crystal number 3 for Zaf, so it's now a 4-3 lead on the crystal front for Wind, about to be 5-3, but really that's what we were saying, like this is gonna shift really fast on the crystal counts. Okay, is this Zaf going for Hera? Or might he also hit up Sea House really quick? He needs to get to Sea House.
Yep, Sea House is behind the Hammer Pegs in Village of Outcasts. However, Zaf is heading to Tower of Hera instead. Does have that Tower of Hera big key, though.
Desert Palace Big was on Floating Island. So he's going to need that mirror from TR front. For sure.
And Windfox doesn't necessarily need the Meyer big key, because that is a pendant.
Yeah, and we're not sure about that ice route either. And yeah, according to what we saw earlier, the front of TR was left race game. So the only way to that mirror is through the back. Like, you have to work frontwards to get that. It is not a kind location tonight. Well, there's our second castle tower key. Not that we care.
Yeah.
So that's a nice little not punish moment for Wind, at least.
In this mode, castle tower keys tend to be either invaluable or not at all valuable. In this case, the second castle tower key, not at all valuable.
But here we go. This is going to be the Mire area, and this is going to be Windfox's potential huge advantage. And oh man, Zaf getting a rage phase here.
Yeah, I must have accidentally.
Yeah, I think a poke.
Moldworm.
Yeah.
All right, so that is 5 crystals apiece for both runners.
4 for Zaf.
Oh, okay, 4 for Zaf. If he goes back to Palace of Darkness, then it'll be 5.
Just needs that bow first. I mean, at this point, Zaf has access to 6 crystals. Almost. Windfox has both the 5/6s, though, and he's going to go for Pyramid.
This could be where Ganon's tower is.
Yeah, we're definitely in that unsure feeling of like, which one is my 7th crystal? What do I still need? And is Zaf going for Quakefish? Or was this...
I think this is Quakefish. Zaf also hasn't found Eastern Palace yet, and is about to find it here. That was a long pause before deciding to leave.
Yeah. At this point, he knows how much other stuff he has available, so not surprised that he's staying away.
And it seems that Pyramid Fairy was vanilla, and unfortunately for Windfox, didn't have anything. So I think this is actually Windfox going back to Eastern Palace as well as Catfish.
And Zaf is running out of here, so this could be the Eastern checks. Unfortunately, it would mean that both runners would do a double dip of Eastern.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting Zaf doesn't have the bow.
Unfortunately, he was right there in Village of Outcasts and just decided not to go for it.
Yes, the The easy check is the one that's right next door. Windfox, in the meantime, not going back into Eastern Palace.
A little surprising given it's 3 items, I think, for him.
I think just 2.
Well, it's Green Pendant.
Oh, true. Green Pendant.
But there is the flute for Zaf, so that's a big find for him at least. And we'll put him back in the village area, or at least Kakariko, so could lead him to checking out the, or remembering to do the Hammerpeg house.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing with Zaf finally finding the flute is that one of our runners finally has access to the Misery Mire area.
Well, Windfox did give us some of the Mire area.
Oh, did we see it on Windfox's side?
Yeah, Windfox did go there for a moment. I think we saw the entrances available, but there wasn't really anything of importance yet.
Okay.
We are getting Smith Chain from Wind for now, so we'll see if anything comes of this. I mean, at this point, really, like, maybe a big key or a map to a dungeon we've already cleared.
Yeah, at this point, I think the big key to Thieves Town plus Thieves Town being the crystal would be Windfox's biggest out in this seed. Though there's still plenty of race to play.
Yes, the Mimic Cave return as well for Zaf. And this is going to be the Trinex kill, so we're going to find out which one's our last pendant and which one's our last crystal. Here we go, chat. We are going to get full map info now.
Yeah, so if this is our last crystal, then Zaf is pretty much just in entrance mode to find that Ganon's tower. And
that should lead him to his bow. Like, I don't see how you miss the bow looking for an entrance.
That's true. So it's possible that Zaf will be able to go mode Swamp Palace and just do the GT climb.
but it's a pendant. We need a Thieves Town Big Key.
All right, Thieves Town Big Key is outstanding. Could it be in Eastern Palace? This is another potential out for Windfox. We saw Zaf skip Eastern entirely earlier.
Zaf did go back in, so he has done those checks. The big chest was nothing, but there are, of course, the Armos and Green Pendant turn-ins.
Oh, okay, I missed it. So both of the runners are currently at 4 out of 6.
Yeah. Or Zaf's at 5 out of 6. Or do we call it 5 out of 7?
Oh, true. With the green pendant.
Yeah.
I think Sahasrara was mirror locked. Oh, Windfox going to save and quit here.
Interesting. I'm not sure what caused that one.
Yeah, perhaps Windfox really wants to find that mirror and knows that mirror can't be on either Sahasrara or on the Eastern Palace boss, given that the lamp is atop Spectacle Rock.
Well, I make things go triple boom. We do not need 3 bombs.
Alright, Windfox finally going back to the front of Turtle Rock is gonna find that mirror. And then might regret not doing that Eastern Palace, clear.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, they're both now very much not thinking about that location. Like, Eastern has fallen away for both of them.
So Zafakale finds the 6th key to Palace of Darkness. Just hanging out on Desert Ledge. We know that that is logically required. It also provides access to the big key chest of Palace of Darkness, which we haven't seen from either runner yet. Zafakale is going to want to find a bow before heading to Pod, though.
Although, where is... Oh. I was like, what is Zaf doing? Oh, he's getting that medallion that we've had our eyes on for a while.
And this is 7-7 mode. 7 crystals to make Ganon vulnerable. But we don't necessarily need to clear the tower, however, given that Ganon is in the pyramid, we do.
Did Win just skip the big chest and forget that he just pulled the vanilla big key, or the French vanilla big key?
I believe so.
Oh no. I was kind of looking forward to seeing what TR big chest was.
I believe we saw it on Zafakale's side, and it was just a heart container.
Oh, it's just Sankheart, okay.
Alright, Zaf and Windfox both in entrance checking mode at this point. Windfox also at some point is going to need to grab the Desert Palace big key, which is on Floating Island. However, since Windfox hasn't had the mirror all this time, Windfox likely doesn't know that that's there. but is the first to find Ganon's tower at the checkerboard cave entrance, with Zaf not too far behind.
Well, and if the second bow and the Thieves' Big Key are here, that would be go mode for Zaf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of a sudden, that bow location could actually be problematic for Zafakale. The big key to Thieves Town is here, so Windfox is going to keep going, doesn't have the Desert Pig yet.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's his big priority, is to find that big key.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be saying, well, why doesn't he just go and search connectors? I think the problem is that Wind hasn't seen Floating Island, because only reason you see Floating Island is if you had the mirror.
Right, but Windfox being so late and there not being a connector that leads to the top of Death Mountain means that Windfox doesn't have that information and is probably not as inclined to search entrances at this point, given that he's already found most of the extra valuable ones. On the same token, like Zafakale, after finding Ganon's Tower here, I think we're going to see Ganon's Tower full cleared by both runners, but it could actually be a little while before Zafakale checks
Oh, wow, and
Hammerlock
there's the
chest and
bow!
Thieves.
The other bow in Hope Room!
Yeah, now I guess it doesn't matter for Zaf.
Free silvers for Wind, but oh my gosh. All Zaf has to do is get to DM room, and that's go mode. And yeah, this is all that timing stuff. That mirror location for Wind, delaying his ability to see Floating Island is really, the big difference here. And I love that block kick, always.
Very satisfying to pull off, and it looks super cool, too. Nice small key in the Ganon's Tower big chest, by the way.
I think this is still a bonkable gap here, by the way. If I'm not mistaken, that's a bonkable gap in GT. The one of the few left.
Mm-hmm.
And
Windfox
here we go.
does not have the real boots. The real boots were in Misery Mire.
And there it is at 147.43. Zaf's in go mode, and he knows it. Although, I guess Zaf is going to wait to do GT last at this point.
That makes sense. That way, you're right on the pyramid when it comes to the Ganon fight. Checking Sick Kid first.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just it was a curious moment, I guess.
I'm curious why Zaf isn't booking it to Palace of Darkness immediately, though, or Swamp Palace.
Does he not realize where Swamp is?
Oh,
He knows he's in go, but doesn't know where it is.
Oh, I see. Well, he's about to find it.
Yeah.
Alright, so go mode Swamp Palace for Zafakale. Not even gonna check that first chest.
Yeah, at this point, Zaf has 3 crystals and a GT to do. Windfox has 2 crystals left to do, as well as GT. So he's going to knock out his GT clear here.
Yeah, think at this point the big issue is that I don't see anything drawing Windfox to the top of the mountain to get that Desert Palace big key.
And unfortunately for Wind there, the arrows got despawned, so wasn't able to get a nice little refill.
Yeah, that's a bit inconvenient for the Gauntlet, as well as for potentially the Lanmola's fight.
Welcome to our Raiders from SpeedGaming 4, who just, I guess, finished up watching the other Open League race happening there between Norskmati and Breadcoon.
You're at the conclusion of the Wisdom Pendant Pseudoboots Crosskeys race between Zaffical and Windfox. Zaffical is in go mode with this Argus clear. Windfox still has to find the big key to Desert Palace, which is on top of the floating island. Windfox had a very late mirror, which was found in the front of Turtle Rock, accessible only by going through Turtle Rock backwards.
Yeah, the hard part here is Wind is, in terms of entrances, has really found all the entrances he needs. So I don't think there's as much of a push for him to go up and find... Oh wait, has he found Thieves?
He hasn't found Thieves because Thieves Town Dungeon is located, if you mirror from the Turtle Rock Laser Bridge entrance.
So that could be the saving grace here for Wind. You know, we've been saying Zaph's got a huge advantage here, but that could help Windfox massively.
Yep. If Windfox does look for Thieves Town, then there's a chance that he'll stumble across that big key along the way. And if Windfox can at least see the Desert Palace big key, then chances are he'll want to go for it right away. At this point, Windfox wouldn't realize that the big key is the key to Desert Palace specifically, but if you see a big key and you're looking for a big key, then chances are you're going to want to see if the shoe fits.
Well, the only issue there, of course, is the big key that he might be first drawn to is the one on Lake Hylia.
Also true.
He does not have the ice big yet, either. And I will say, I just realized this is actually really smart routing from Zaph. Found Swamp Palace for Crystal number 5. Crystal 6 here in Thieves. Jumps down off this ledge and is immediately able to go do Pod.
Yep. And then when Zaph does go to do Ganon's Tower last, he'll just be able to drop in and do Ganon.
These are some angles that Wind is having to fight at. Oof. And unfortunately, the desync is getting pretty bad. But nice last shot there to take down Agatu.
Yeah, I think Windfox got out the protractor for that one. Very obtuse angle. Alright. So Windfox is going to find Misery Mire here, and unfortunately for him, is probably going to get drawn into it.
Yeah, real tempting play.
Ooh, strong consideration, but backs out. That's that is a decision that'll work out in this case.
For your consideration. Although he's heading back.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
But totally understandable decision.
Yep. It's too many items at this point. It's 7 items. Does try to use those pseudo boots to bonk it, but does have the hook shot, so.
Yep, so Chad, if you're wondering what the difference is between pseudo boots and regular boots, that right there is the difference.
Yeah, you hit the ground really quickly after your bonk, so you can't bonk gaps, really. And that is crystal number 6 for Zafakil. Gonna have to just go take down Pod. So jump down here, and yep, Pod's right here.
Mm-hmm. Also, if anyone is wondering why Zafakil got out the bomb, that was to avoid going through his own mirror portal. Otherwise, Zaf would have gone through the mirror portal and then would have to do 2 additional transitions to make it back to the light world. So on Windfox's side, we are also about to see him pick up the real boots, which is actually kind of unfortunate at this point, because that just opens up 3 more entrances that are not what Windfox is ultimately looking for.
Plus, it opens up the Ether Medallion for the Mire entrance.
True.
I mean, in Wynn's eyes at this point, like, finding those boots are nice because it just opens up so many entrances to him. Like, that's all the entrances available now from his standpoint.
Right. It does give Windfox the ability to route in everything efficiently. The only trouble is we know from hindsight and watching Zaf's side that some of what Windfox is about to do is stuff that we ultimately don't need.
But that is crystal number 7 for Zafakil. Just has to go back to GT and complete the Ganon's Tower climb before fighting the pig.
And the MSU that we are listening to is Chrono Cross.
And yeah, if we're going to talk the story of this seed, I think it's just an unmistakable mirror, really. Zaf getting that mirror that early has really made the difference in this seed at this point.
Yeah, mirror is one of the most important items to find in cross keys. It just facilitates checking entrances so much more convenient, lets you be a lot more thorough in your routing. And Windfox unfortunately happened to do a lot of things that were not the front of Turtle Rock, when the front of Turtle Rock was what had that mirror. Alright, so Windfox is about to scout that Desert Palace Big Key, continuing on this path, while Zafakale is halfway up the Ganon Tower climb on Torches 1. The Dead Rock decides that it wants to cross the bridge to the tablet before Windfox does. And there, Windfox sees that Desert Palace Big Key. Windfox finds Thieves Town, going to be able to full clear this dungeon, and isn't technically in go mode at this point, but is able to conclude that that last big key is the one to Desert Palace. So Windfox is effectively in knowledge go mode, knows that he has to go through the connector that leads to the floating island in order to complete the game. So Windfox is going to be able to finish this one out strong, but Zafakale just a bit ahead. In the meantime, Zafakale takes down Aghanim. Just one more fight to go, and that is the pig himself.
Gonna play it real safe with this. I mean, 16 hearts, even on green mail, this isn't too bad.
Yeah, definitely a nice feature of cross keys is that usually by the time you have to fight Ganon, you're pretty well equipped to have all the safety items and all the swords to make the fight easy. Zaf,
See,
however,
that's-
never found those silvers.
That's secretly the reason we all love cross keys, is pretty much you're guaranteed a tempered sword at minimum.
Alone in a home was the hint. I like that.
You know, there was all this talk about, you know, hints. These Ganon hints to silver locations in cross keys are always gems.
Yeah, there are only so many ways that you can describe what the entrance is quickly. It's the one that in the vanilla game would be located in the Dark World in Lake Hylia and sells blue potions and is a shop. That hint is referring to C-shaped house, by the way, which we know to be located in the village of outcasts in the house that is locked by hammer pegs. But get your GGs in chat for Zafakale, who will take first in this race, with Windfox not being too far behind to finishing this seed. And upon crossing this bridge, Zafakale will finish with a RTGG time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 26 seconds.
GG's to Zafakil. We will see if we can get him in for a chat. And Windfox is about to get his go mode here on the floating island.
Alright, it looks like Windfox, upon seeing that Zafakale has finished, has decided not to finish this race, but we know that Windfox would have only been a couple minutes behind, just had to get that big key, then save quit, start at Sanctuary, go to the Desert Palace back, which was located at the Lumberjack entrance, beat that, and then beat Ganon. Would have just been a couple minutes behind, but GG to Windfox for making this an interesting, close, and very competitive race.
Agreed.
Alright, so with that win on Zafakale's side, that brings the Crystal Roller crew to equal the Farm Friends in terms of points. It is now 1-1, with the remaining initial match being between Tabby Cat of Farm Friends and Armelex on Crystal Roller crew in casual boots. We'll see if we can get the runners in for an interview about this race.
I see both of them in the waiting room, so
Hello.
we're joined by Zaf and Windfox. GG's, guys.
Yo, GG.
GG's, dude. So how are your nerves doing? Because mine are shot.
I don't really have nerves. I'm more or less disappointed in myself. I don't know.
Yeah, the sequence, we talked about that, the sequence in the mirror is just gross, and I'm sorry, man.
I mean, it's Rando. Rando go to Rando. We all know this. I felt like my early game was pretty solid overall. But when it got to like the end of the mid game into the late game, and that's kind of where it fell apart. Because I knew Mira's progression at that point, and it was just a matter of where was it at.
Yeah, when you had the flute, glove, bow, there was quite a few items you had found a bit sooner. Your mobility was really high. Unfortunately, that mirror does really made a difference for Zaf on some of his routing choices as well. That kept it, just that little bit ahead.
Yeah.
And I will also say that Windfox was also the first one to finding the Turtle Rock side connector that leads to the Turtle Rock front for the mirror. However, Windfox didn't have the fire rod at that point, but Zaphicale had already done left side Death Mountain by then and did.
Yeah, the realization with my mitts being right there in that whole sequence, which is honestly just a personal 9th level of hell. So
Yeah, seeing that available glove in the Spike Cave entrance, regardless of Pearl, not a great feeling.
yeah,
As we understood, you took a connector instead your first trip up the mountain, but
I think I did the same thing with that connector. I forgot what it led to, and then shortly after I went back up the mountain, because I think I'd found the flute to easily get back up there to check those entrances.
yeah, we were looking over the logic for actually getting Lamp, and like the only way you found up there early was like Zaf, you found the old man connector in CAC and followed that. But to get there, there was a lot of getting your hook shotting to East Death Mountain. So not a fun chain of events for that.
yeah. The reality when I saw the lamp up there and I was like, oh, well, Mirror is going to be somewhere, and then kind of pulling a lot of things and not finding Mirror was a really big sort of like gut-wrenching thing. Again, the whole sequence to Mirror is pretty gross, and for a brief second when I mirrored in front of the TR main entrance, I was like, oh god, this is accessible, and then it hit me like a clap of lightning. It's like, oh, that's Mirror lock, you numpty. And that was like, okay, this is just a lot more disgusting than I thought. Like, just the whole mid-game kind of got really, really grotesque. So yeah. And then at one point I was trying to work through the precise, like, how this was supposed to have gone, and I kind of gave up, because it's like, okay, you go desert right, hook shot, like, just this whole sequence of nonsense. And flute being in Eastern, which I, like, hesitated for, I'm like, I'm never coming back here, I have to grab this now, so...
Yeah, and we did actually need that flute, so...
Yeah, no, I felt great about it, but yeah, like, just the... I didn't want to go early, right, because okay, so I don't know where the other bow is, but, like, the fact that flippers were bow locked was like, okay, well, potentially getting over there flipper-wise. Where is the other bow, by the way?
Hammer Peg
right.
House.
Yep.
So, Hammer Peg House has the Sea House entrance, or the Sea House like interior, which moved only one house down and contains the bow. But Windfox, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where it was at. I think logically that was supposed to be our first bow. I think. Based off of where the hammer and the connectors led to the Dark World.
100%. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was our first logical bow.
Was the bow in GT bow locked in Hope Room?
It was mirror locked.
Yeah, the bow was mirror locked because it was in a mirror location on the Encompass room in GT.
Yeah. I was.
And I'm trying to think like actually I don't think it matters.
I think they're equal in terms
they're equal
of
tiers.
I
I
think so,
think
too.
they're equal spheres.
roughly equal. I mean, hard to say
Yeah.
for sure, but like I think the bow you got, Windfox, was probably the earliest bow in terms of sphere checks, but that one I don't think locks the second one.
Right.
I do want to ask about Eastern though. You know, Zaf talking about not going in until late. Wind, you were in there that second trip. Did Big Cheston decided to bail? What kind of forced your hand there?
Nothing else was in logic.
Okay.
Mir couldn't be in there because both the boss and the vanilla Bicky chest were locked by the lamp, which was locked by the mirror. So I knew Mir couldn't be in there. I knew my progression was going to be Mir, and I was kind of puzzle piecing it together, knowing that nothing else was in there, that I needed to beat the seed unless it was on pedestal. And at that
I was
point,
gonna say, and kind of banking on Thieves
Not-
Big Key not being there, or Desert Big
Exact-
being there.
Yep, exactly. So
Okay.
that's why I bailed on the flute and said nothing else is in here. I can leave.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so another decision that Jesse and I kind of got on you a bit in the commentary, if you watch it back, Zaphicale, was that big key that was on Lake Hylia Island. At some point in the mid-game, you walked back by it like 3 or 4 different times and then found a couple dungeons before grabbing that big key. Did you forget it's there, or were you meaning to come back and get it eventually?
I was trying to find the right time to get back over there, if I'm being really honest, because I knew the big key was there. I knew it the whole time. The problem was then getting the boots, and Meyer was like, okay, well, I'll, like, let me, like, get... Because at that sorry, like, this is weird, because I think this is where, like, I was still gloveless, which is just a big point of contention, makes him kind of an idiot. I was still gloveless, so getting back over here was potentially really gross, right? And I realized later, like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was because of the Fairy Ascension connector to get me over the arrow game. But at that point, I'm like, all right, let me do this. When found Hookshot Cave, was like, okay, cool. That whole sequence, which then gave me a glove, which was like, okay, I can at least get back over to this big key. That whole sequence of, like, finding Meyer, finding the Bonk Rocks things, and then everything else. It was like, I knew that was there. Like, you know, there was the small key visible in Desert Ledge. There was the 2 big keys. Actually, I don't even remember if I had scouted. No, I never scouted the small key until I, like, went there, like, with the mirror. So it was like, okay, I didn't even know that. But the 2, like, visible big keys was like, all right, well, I need to get things there at some point. So yeah, I don't know. That I couldn't think of a good time to do it, and admittedly, the 2 things I ran by were that big key and also ether, which is why, like, I panicked, because I have like several notes on a notepad. One of them was like the mini Moldorm Cave at Dark Sank, and then I have ether, dessert, and I obliterated the word torch trying to spell it quickly, and then that's like I ran by them like I'm remembering or forgetting something, and then I saw the Meyer engine and it was like, yes, that. So there was just a cacophony and a litany of horrific decisions. So
Totally understandable. So it was on the radar, but you got distracted, which is also perfectly, like, understandable for cross keys. It's very easy to stumble into a connector or stumble into another item that causes you to redo a route on the fly.
yeah, and I don't think that I did that particularly gracefully either, but finding hammer, glove, real boots, and then eventually into flute was just... the world suddenly opened up, right? It was just really hard for me to kind of, like, get back around. So it was like, all right, how do I at least put this into bite-sized chunks and deal with it from there? Was it a typo, or was it just hungry? Yes. But yeah,
you got boots, at least of the real variety or of the pseudos variety. There's no time to, like, write words down.
Yeah. And screen real estate with, like, trying to keep everything feasibly there is just nightmarish. So, but yeah, and I realized too that just because I had isolated so many, like, entrances with how I started to, like, blitz dungeons, because I think by the time that whole route kind of got to a stopping point was, like, actually that TR small. I was like, okay, I have 5 very clearable dungeons all in a row. Let me just knock them out. And then TR kind of being dependent made me pause for a moment, and that was just that next sort of entrance blitz. But yeah.
Yeah, there was a moment where the crystal count was 4-0 in favor of Wind Fox, but what matters is the last go mode item, not necessarily all the steps along the way.
I mean, and this is a mode where, like, with things available to you, it's very easy to, like, just get them done. I knew that I was missing, like, a small handful of things, and it was just that critical mass of, like, okay, like, in the desert big into, like, everything else, it's like, okay, I just need to get this done, so. But not having glove for so long was like, I can't do ice, and just kind of piecemealing that together didn't feel great at the time, so.
All right, so in terms of standings, that does equal your teams at 1-0, which confirms that there will be a game 4. Any particular thoughts on who the runners for that game might be?
I think we already know.
Yeah, I think it's kind of set in stone. It's like I'm pretty sure we're well, Karma's for us 100%.
We are. I'm not going to 100% promise, but we're pretty sure it's going to be Tabby. We're probably going to have one last team discussion, but we're probably going to have Tabby in there for game 4.
All right, and then the other question with that is Crystal Roller Crew gets to choose what the mode would be.
I'm not about to speak for my teammate. I tried to do that last night in commentary, and that was clearly a disaster, so I'm going to let that go to whatever dice roll exists. So, no idea about modes, honestly. The thing is that I think Scruff and at this point, sorry, I said Scruff last night, but with Tabby, it's like I think that there's both sides enjoy all of the modes, so I am not about to speak for my teammate, but he'll basically play anything. But yeah, trying to do holiday scheduling is going to be interesting too, I think, over the next week and a half with respect to getting the Game 4, Game 5, because ARM is on very interesting speculative internet and hardware. So yeah, I think part of the discussion's already sort of happened, but yeah.
Yeah, well, best of luck being able to get the rest of the schedules together, and looking forward to the rest of the games in this series. This one was extremely fun, super enjoyable, lots of unusual circumstances that were thrilling to see the two of you get through, and I hope you enjoy watching it back as well.
I'm gonna need to not look at it for a while, but yeah.
Fair enough. Any other any other stuff from either of you guys before we start closing up shop tonight?
Yep.
GG Zaf, thanks SpeedGaming for the restreams. Thank you, Danny and Jesse, for commentary. Tofile looks like it was our tracker for tonight. Thank you guys for doing the crew work and all the fun stuff.
Yeah, GG's One Fox. Thank you again last night for the practice race as well. And thank you, Comms and Tracker and everyone, for realizing my note of accidentally unmuting and swearing like a sailor. So thank you for catching that.
I mean, we weren't going to say it, but okay.
I had at least 3 different people all DM me saying, can we make sure to get Zap off audio that right before?
Well, it's more from my own good graces, right? Like, I know at least, the warden is sitting there ready to, like, ban me. So it's like, hey, oops, this happened. So yeah, I'm a potato.
But... So what I will say is tonight we do still have another match coming up on SpeedGaming, 2:10 a.m. Eastern time. So super late for all you for the US crowd, super early on the European side. It's going to be Great Name Pending versus the Boing Boing Boingers. Top Life versus Tiso. That is a power pendant matchup. I think I heard it's swordless. So 2:10 a.m. Eastern time, swordless race. I see JP is on the call for that one, so hopefully that gets to the restream gets all set up for that one. In terms of other races going on tomorrow, 3:10 a.m. actually has another game in that series with Rot and Brave. We'll see if that gets a restream, and then in the afternoon we do have a couple of races. 2:10 p.m. Saha's Kids versus the the volleyball team or the drinking team with the volleyball problem. Hard MC Shuffle Pi versus Swunch. Another game in that series with Shiva Hayes and Talon. That is the Kaz Boots matchup. And then at 5:10, the third game in that same series, Gilgamesh and Skipsy, they scheduled all 3 of their games in that 5-hour-ish block of time.
That's
and
impressive.
Then, yeah. 6:40 p.m. we've got Zero Nix and Trip. So the start, or is that the first game, Danny, or the second game of the series between Amish Paradise and
that is the second game of the series.
right. So, and Taunt the Frog.
Yeah, Taunt the Frog.
And that's going to be the Kaz Boots matchup. And then late night tomorrow, 11:10 p.m. Past the Picanha and Acai. We got Fibonacci versus Tony T. Young in Invrosia. So a lot of open league races tomorrow. Hopefully, many of them get restreams. Unfortunately, no invitational races on the schedule right now in the next few days. The next one that is currently listed is a Christmas Eve matchup between Last Locationeers and Tile Roomies. That is a Game 5. And I believe we do have one other Game 5 to schedule in the Invitational League. It has not shown up yet. When that does, hopefully that can get on the schedule as well. So, Danny, you want to close us out tonight?
All right. Well, thanks a lot for being my co-com today, Jesse. Thank you so much to Tawfile for tracking and keeping us accountable. Also, Jesse, thank you for keeping me accountable on more than one occasion. Congratulations to both runners, Zafakale and Windfox. Looking forward to seeing the rest of the series between your 2 teams. And viewing audience, thank you for tuning in. If you're in the mood for more A Link to the Past randomizer, check out these runners, check out more content on SpeedGaming, and that will hopefully keep you satisfied throughout the holiday season. All right, until the next time, have a good rest of your time zone.